Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest Chapter 215 is out, and this was a big Lucy chapter, even more so than last week. Because last week, Lucy managed to finally have the opportunity to summon Morphobia, the water dragon god, and finally uses the key that he gave her. And she washes away wet, as we have now two dragon gods facing off against Rockbuild. But this chapter is very Lucy focused. We learn a bit more lore between Morphobia and Selene and their whole relationship. Lucy gains a brand new ability that I've been wanting to see and many others have been wanting to see the possibility of happening, and it is confirmed effectively in a way that we weren't expecting, but in a way that I very much appreciate. I do have my complaints with this section as well, but overall it's very great, and we have some Wendy setup for her getting her next big fights potentially going on, with the cockroach character of this series at this point, which we'll get into in a minute. Before we jump into the video, if you want to see more of me outside of this channel, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I cover comic books. Right now, I am doing a whole bunch of different stuff from Marvel and DC. Just miscellaneous stuff of me discussing everything going on in the world of comics right now that I'm able to talk about and stuff that I've recently read. It's a passion project, and I would really appreciate it if you guys go and check it out whenever you get the chance next. I'm sure you'll have a blast. But with that said, let's jump right into this chapter. Chapter 215 of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, titled Water and Moon. And the cover image is of the Thunder Legion, which honestly, really nice to see them again. Freed, Big Slow, and Evergreen, I love seeing them. At first I thought this was gonna tease us that we're gonna jump back to Loxus. Unfortunately, we do not, but it's very much worth it because this chapter gives us a whole lot. So we begin directly from last week after Lucy manages to finally summon Morphobia, and then Morphobia and Selene meet face to face in their dragon forms. Rockbuild is getting kind of annoyed and also sees his situation. He's facing two powerful dragons now, and Lucy's questioning, wait, you and Selene know each other? Which is kind of an interesting thing because they literally met barely 20 chapters ago before this last section of the story began. Right after the whole Dragon Lacrima thing with the revived dragon gods of Selene, Morphobia, and even Viernes, all that stuff happened. We had to reconvene the entire group back at Morphobia's palace, which Selene was at, and they had met in their human forms. And it really is the fact that Mashima forgot that these two met a couple of chapters ago, and this is like well over a year ago at this point, that they had met in story. And it was only probably a couple of hours ago in the story in and of itself, which honestly gives a lot more credence and credibility and shows that Mashima wasn't joking around during his interview at this French convention. I believe I covered this in my most recent Fairy Tail video that I did a couple weeks ago when I was discussing the new Loxus Fairy Tail series, Fairy Tail Fantasia, that's coming out at the end of July. But Mashima states that with the bi-weekly releases of manga, he is more likely to forget what happens in the previous chapters a lot of the time, especially now, and that frustrates him because he has to scramble to remember stuff, and sometimes he forgets things. And my god, does it show the most with this, because these characters met barely 20 chapters ago. And this is their second meeting in dragon form this time, and Mashima's like, oh, did these guys meet each other before? I guess they haven't, and they forgot. Genuinely, this is the Araki forgot meme for Mashima at this point, and it really sucks because he's generally pretty good at remembering the details of his stories. I guess the bi-weekly release really did mess with his storytelling a lot more than we initially thought, which it is a gripe. I do hope this is something that is maybe altered in the anime for all we know, as a correction that Mashima tends to do sometimes, like what happened in the original Fairy Tail series, but who knows. It's annoying. It is a really weird plot. I wouldn't say a plot hole, just a plot contrivance at this point, and it's just stupid. But anyway, good stuff happens, because we get some Selene and Morphobia lore. Apparently, not only do they know each other because they're dragon gods, obviously, but they mated once. Yeah, Morphobia, the water dragon god, banged the moon dragon god Selene. And all I can say is it should have been me. Morphobia can go die in a ditch somewhere. I hate him now. I hate him. Anyway, jokes aside, after that revealing of their history, Selene reveals that apparently Kuranagi, the Sword Saint Dragon, the dragon that Suzaku of Diablos, yes, we're remembering Diablos even though they've been irrelevant for like 50 chapters or so, apparently the dragon that he ate, that he gained his Dragon Slayer powers from, was not just Selene's son, but Mercphobia's son. Yeah, the son of 2 dragon gods. That's the power that Suzaku has. And Mercphobia says it's a shame, I guess really showing that dragons don't all care super deeply about their children, which kind of shows, except for maybe the mothers, since they're the ones that fully raise the kids, which shows Selene's like actual care for her son in a way. But despite that, it's interesting, they had a kid, they banged, and that's all that happened, so was not expecting this type of lore, and Lucy's reaction to revealing that Mercphobia and Selene did the deed is hilarious. But anyway, Selene tells Mercphobia that she's decided to side with the humans after all these years, and Mercphobia says he decided the same because he used to despise them and now he's joining forces with them. And then the two of them kind of flirt a bit with Selene being like, oh, you teaming up with the humans? I could hardly believe it. And Mercphobia being like, hey, I can say the same for you. And Lucy's wondering what exactly the relationship at this point is. But Rockmillet is getting annoyed by this little, I guess, lovers reunion, saying humans are for eating as he stomps the ground and erupts a grand total ton of rubble and rock around Selene and Mercphobia as stone begins to grow on top of them to try and encase them. Lucy isn't affected by this right now, he's targeting primarily the dragon gods, and Rockbuild is saying that the two of them are losing their power because they backed humans, as it seems like Mercphobia and his water is getting erased and swallowed up by the rock. In the next instance, Mercphobia just erupts and breaks free from Rockbuild's encasement, and he says that you might be right about us getting weaker, but I've decided to believe in the humans nonetheless. Now, this is important because it does confirm 100% that at least Mercphobia and Selene are not as strong as they used to be. Selene only really managed to take down the amped up Alderone by herself because Natsu injured his outer shell, and that gave Selene the ability to beat him originally. And it was confirmed that Selene, after her fight with Ignia during Dogramog's arc, she lost a good chunk of her power from that blow that Ignia gave her, so she is severely weakened. And now the Dragon Lacrima is gone that erased her true full power. She is back to that weakened state. And Mercphobia was weakened a lot back after the first arc, which is why he stayed in human form. But now, Lacrima's gone, he's still relatively weak. So this is a very interesting and crucial piece of information that we have to remember, that these two dragon gods are not as strong as they were when we first met them. But despite that, these two are believing and leaving their faith in Lucy, as the two of them swirl around Lucy as they're going to lend her their powers and saying because it's Lucy, she should be able to do it, as they give her the power of the moon and water dragons. And in a double-page spread and an eruption of light, Lucy gains a brand new form that I am dubbing the Moon Dragon Goddess form, or Moon Dragon Goddess or Maiden Dress. Because honestly, this looks sick as hell. You've got Selene's Shrine Maiden attire with the moon symbol, and with some water symbols towards the edges of the robe. And you got more of like a swimsuit look, as you can tell from the bikini top that Lucy has, combining more of the water attributes that she has from her Aquarius dress that Mercphobia most likely is taking into her transformation. So, while I was right in Lucy getting some sort of new, like, star dress-esque form from Mercphobia, I was not expecting Selene to lend power at the exact same time. And honestly, this is like the perfect matchup for Lucy. Not only does she have a strong affinity for water thanks to her bond with Aquarius and the Aquarius Key in Aquarius form, but she's a celestial spirit mage, so she has access to powers revolving around the stars and the constellations, like those big massive spells like Gottfried or Uranometria, which honestly makes sense why she would also be compatible with Selene's moon powers, because it's celestial magic in a sense. So it just feels like perfect magic compatibility, which is honestly really, really cool. And this also makes you think if she might get a Selene key at the end of this arc at some point, which would be really cool if she can do that. But even then, I do hope this form is permanent, because I do hope she can access this form whenever she wants, and I do hope it's not a temporary power boost. Because if it is, it'd be severely disappointing. But either way, really cool form. Lucy got a new ability to upgrade herself. Fantastic. Wet and Rockbuild are in shock and confusion, as Lucy's wondering where Selene and Mercphobia went. as we reveal they're inside her. And reveal the fact that, well, dragons have the ability to enter human bodies, like what happened with Ignia, Natsu, and the other dragon slayers from 400 years ago, like Sting, Rogue, Wendy, and Gajiel. But they're doing a more temporary version of that, as Merfolvia says that this is only going to be a couple of minutes and that should be enough for Lucy to deal with the situation. It's then that Merfolvia and Selene begin to start flirting within Lucy's body as they are beginning to, like, potentially try and get down and dirty with each other, as they say, like, oh, I completely forgot how handsome or how attractive or beautiful you are. And Lucy is telling them to stop flirting while they're inside her body. These two are gonna bang at the end of this arc again. I know it. Machma's not gonna full on say it, but he's gonna allude to it with how much they're flirting with each other. Anyway, Wed is just completely pissy about everything, saying this is a joke and that none of them can even begin to compare to his father. Wed, thinking he's relevant, tries to attack Lucy. He grabs his blade, and we get some slow-mo panels showcasing the arch of his sword, all from Lucy's perspective, as we get a really nice panel of her eye saying that everything is moving so slowly, which shows that this power-up not only just boosted her strength, but also potentially her speed, durability, and her perception. Wed was fast enough in this state, or before getting dragonized, to match Erza in speed in most of her equips. Erza's now a bit stronger now, regardless of the fact, but even then, that was still fast, and Lucy wasn't on Erza's level at that point completely, but now, Wed's attacks are so slow that it's like he's going in slow motion, which is then that Selene tells Lucy to grab onto her new whip, and in a beautiful double-page spread, Lucy unleashes a brand new move, Water Moon Cherry Blossom Mist, as a wave of celestial moon-backed water waves crash through Wed, breaking through him and washes him away, as we get a massive explosion. To even Lucy's surprise, as we get to see the rumbling aftermath of this one swipe of her whip, which even Lucy doesn't even think that she put in full power on in this instance, which Selene and Merfolvia are super proud of her at this point, acting like proud parents, which I kind of find adorable. But also, Lucy one-shot Wed, a character that did give Erza some trouble, and Natsu was basically in base able to take out with no real issue whatsoever. But this power boost basically turned Wed into a full-blown jobber, which is disappointing for Wed as a character. Like I said in a previous video, Wed is a disappointment, and his dynamic with Erza would have been really cool, but it ended up just happening like this. Either way, Wed just became a yardstick at this point to show that Lucy is far, far past his league right now, and is way stronger than she was a few minutes ago with the powers of Selene and Merfolvia within her now. Rockbill looks down at her, he looks down menacingly at Lucy, which Merfolvia says, yeah, we're not going to be able to beat him just yet, which Lucy is wondering, wait, I'm this strong and I can't beat this guy even with both your powers? But Selene's like, oh, don't worry, be fine, we'll be fine, we just gotta wait for Wendy to handle things. With Merfolvia chiming in that Selene has complete faith in the humans. Now this is the part of the chapter that made me kind of miffed, because we got to see Lucy unleash a new form. Lucy got so much boost to all of her base stats, powers, reaction speed, and everything, and she unleashes a casual massive explosion just from waving her whip with a brand new spell that she hadn't even used just yet. Like, she was surprised by her own strength. That's how strong that she was in that instance. But you're telling me she can't beat Rockbuild right now with the power of 2 dragon gods by her side? Yes, I did mention that they are weaker, but they're still dragon gods, giving their power to definitely the strongest Celestial Spirit Wizard in history. Someone who has summoned the Celestial Spirit King and has mastered the strongest mega celestial spells out there. But she can't beat Rockbill with the powers of 2 dragon gods backing her up. That, I'm calling BS on that, honestly. But, to give an excuse, and to think about it for a second, yes, they are weaker, but also, this wasn't a dragon attack that Lucy used, which implies that Lucy doesn't have actual dragon magic, she just has amped up moon, celestial, and water magic that that Mercphobia and Selene gave her. They didn't give her dragon magic, they gave her just moon or celestial magic and star magic plus water magic that Mercphobia has, because dragons can use non-dragon moves too for their attacks as well, because magic is magic. So we can apply it to that. So Lucy did not have any Dragon Slayer attributes or dragon attributes, which at the same time makes sense because it did the same exact thing that gave the original Dragon Slayers their powers. Lucy would have to turn into a dragon, and Mercphobia and Selene would have to remain in Lucy for a number of years so that she wouldn't become a dragon, which would mean we'd have to lose Mercphobia and Selene. But then again, they also said this was a temporary boost. It's a whole thing. I might make a separate video just fully going over this if we don't come back to this moment in the next chapter. But despite that, I like the form. It's cool. Lucy is probably now top 3 in Team Fairy Tail at this point, which might not last long depending on how the next section of this arc goes when we'll get to that. I'm still very disappointed that we aren't going to really see her go all out without a Dragon Slayer enchantment, and that the powers that she got from 2 Dragon Gods don't count as dragon powers. It sucks, because I do want to see Lucy go full force on this giant dragon, but it just feels like an excuse to like pan things out a bit more so that Wendy's enchantment can help everybody that isn't a Dragon Slayer originally. But hey, what can you do? Speaking of Wendy, we cut back to her as Carla is flying her towards the center of Alderaan as we go and find Alderaan's core. The core that is still intact and was never destroyed, which is very important. This is actually something I didn't bring up in the previous chapter, 2 chapters ago, when Selene brought up Alderaan's core. Because originally, we know that Alderaan had died from acnologia before or came close to death, but he managed to seep his core so far into the earth that he was able to slowly rebuild his strength and create a brand new outer shell body so that he can revive himself later down the road. What it looks like right now is that despite Selene dealing a finishing blow and Natsu destroying the outer body in a massive, easy display with how strong he has gotten at that point, Alderaan's core was maintained, which shows that Alderaan had kept his main power source, his main body, essentially hidden somewhere either in his body that no one got, or a bit underground, which I can't tell how this looks like. It seems this all looks like it is underground in a cavern that follows all of Alderaan's roots, which is a good way to explain it because this has been established previously, and this does seem to be how Alderaan did not die from, Ferris's demons when they said that they killed Alderaan all those chapters ago, and they just showed back up 20 times bigger and way stronger. So this is present for this, so I'm not mad at it actually. And once Wendy makes it to Alderaan's core, she's getting ready to do this mass Dragon Slayer enchantment. But she might not get the chance to just yet, because something begins to creep out from Alderaan's roots in a silhouette, looming over her menacingly. As this seems like this is going to be Wendy versus the true Alderaan core, the true essence of Alderaan. Now this is really cool. Sucks that Alderaan has gotten to become now a more of another type of power yard measuring type thing, but this gives Wendy her own fight in this arc one-on-one. And this is also a callback to Tartarus, where she had to go and destroy Face, and she had to fight off against one of the demon bugs of Tartarus, Ezel, as he was dominating her until she managed to unlock Dragon Force and utterly destroy him. So this could show some really cool Wendy action and potentially give us her unlocking a further power to Dragon Force or gaining some type of new ability, which is honestly great. I like it when Wendy actually gets to do stuff, and she's a high enchanter now. She is so much more powerful and a lot more resourceful, so that she might be able to do something to beat Alderaan in a creative way. That is, if Mashima remembers that. Because my god, this chapter has made me start to lose faith in Mashima remembering every little detail of things after a couple of weeks. But either way, I'm excited for Wendy fighting Alderaan. This is actually going to be a separate video that I'm planning on making to just fully discuss on what could happen with this. So look forward to that. That'll probably be next week's video. But after this, and the looming threat of Alderaan potentially attacking Wendy, Natsu, Happy, and Miss Fortune make it to the giant sun fireball that Ignia is within and is expanding. And so, they try and fly closer to it. But Happy can't get any farther because his wings will burn up. So Miss Fortune offers to take Natsu in Happy's stead, as the two of them fly right into the sun, with Natsu saying that he's going to go kick Ignia's butt and he'll be right back. But Happy gets discouraged from this as he says, "But I'm your partner." I was not expecting a Happy, usefulness arc or something like that in this section, but, he shouldn't be that upset, because, he doesn't have that level of resistance to fire. But at the same time, I get it. This is the big final fight, and Happy's always pretty much been by Natsu's side, save for, the battle against acnologia, whether in spirit. But even then, Happy's been there with Natsu in practically every big fight in his life, and this seems to be his biggest yet, outside of acnologia. So this is definitely something that makes him feel a bit more inferior to Misfortune, who has this big flame resistance with her flame coat. But as the two of them race into the core of this entire fireball, even Misfortune and Natsu are feeling the heat. This is the strongest heat that they have felt ever, and that's saying something from Natsu. He was able to resist a bit of igneous heat in their previous fight when he upgraded for a short time. But now the heat has built up even more, and this is just base Natsu, so that's a thing. And Misfortune is just trying to power through as much as she can, as she's trying to tell Natsu that this is a walk in the park and she's filling in for Happy, so she's gonna do her best. As Natsu says that she's strong, and the chapter ends with Misfortune flying Natsu to the center with Happy looking down dejected. And that is the end of the chapter. Honestly, overall, I do have my praises for this chapter. This is another really good and solid chapter, back to back from the last one. My only real complaints are Mashima forgetting important characters actually meeting, like Macrobia and Celine, and the fact that he set Lucy up to have this massive power boost to just one-shot Wed and just throw him out of the story for good at this point, only to just confirm, yeah, despite this massive power-up, she can't do anything against the Rock build, who at this point is probably as strong as a full-power Dragon God, which I get that these guys were getting magic power fueled into them by Dogramog for 400 or 400 years at this point. But man, they must be broken as hell at this point. Unless Rock Builder is just a sleeper, the strongest out of the Calamity Bloods, and that's why Lucy can't really fully beat him. But I don't know, it's a thing that I need clarification on. And lastly, Wendy is basically going to be fighting against Alderaan within the next couple of chapters before she gives the Dragon Slayer enchantment to everybody else, so that has to be resolved before we do anything else with the other fights with non-Dragon Slayers. Primarily the battle against Anchor and Scissor Runner. So those two fights definitely, we got no idea what's happening for that. I hope the next chapter we jump back and see what's going on with Loxus and Mira Jane's fight specifically, because we hadn't seen any of their fights at all really. So we need to see those next. But yeah, solid chapter all around. I'm very happy with it. Lucy got a powered up new form, and Wendy is getting set up for her fight right now. So I'm insanely excited despite my concerns. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What did you think of this chapter? How do you feel about Lucy's brand new form? How do you feel about Wendy getting set up to fight Alderaan for his, fourth fight in the entire manga, which is crazy. He got more fights than every Dragon God at this point, which is wild. I think Mashima must like Alderaan to this degree, I guess. And let me know your theories on what could happen in the future. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And if you want to support the channel more directly, go and check out my Patreon, where I am actually going to get ready and start doing Fairy Tail reaction videos. Yes, I'm planning on rewatching the Fairy Tail anime from the very beginning, and I am planning to do Patreon reactions to the anime towards the end of the summer once I get everything set up and ready, so that you guys can have some extra Fairy Tail content. Gives me an excuse to rewatch Fairy Tail and talk about some really nice tidbits about the story between the anime and the manga as I'm rewatching things, and also potentially remember things that I have forgotten for all we know. Let me know if you guys like that and you like that idea. Link to the Patreon is in the description down below. And also for Patreon, I'm going to be doing a monthly manga review where I take one series and all the chapters that came out in one particular month and do one big review for that series at the end of every single month. I'm planning to do that at the end of July, so look forward to that. And you'll get access to my Patreon-only Discord server, so you guys can talk with other fans and interact with me whenever I get the chance. It'll be a lot of fun. I really am trying to make things as more community friendly and something that I can do more for you guys as well for all the love and support. But that's it, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day. See you next time.